Is it quite interesting? He is quite an active monarch in the way that Queen Elizabeth wasn't. And I think he does like pushing boundaries and things. I mean, right after he became king, there was a COP meeting.
Prince and Princess of Wales have arrived. Oh, she looks beautiful. Let's bring in Cameron. Cameron.
Hi, Bev and Andrew. Yes, the Princess of Wales there, wearing if you want to know, wearing a Christian Dior hat by Jess Collette, and also earrings which used to belong to Diana, Princess of Wales. I'm also told that she's wearing a pearl necklace from Her Late Majesty the Queen's collection, Queen Elizabeth II, and the Christian Dior jacket, of course, the 30 Montagne Rose Devant bar jacket, if you want to know, of course, the French collection there. But this is pomp and pageantry in action, the future King and Queen of the United Kingdom greeting the French President on behalf of His Majesty the King. As you've been saying, it is taking a little bit of a while for the President and Brigitte Macron to exit the plane. The Prince and Princess of Wales have been at RAF Northolt for a number of minutes now, so it wasn't as if we were waiting on the arrival of the Prince and Princess of Wales. I believe the Prince of Wales there is just speaking to the ambassador of the French Republic, who is expected to be the first to greet the President and Mrs. Macron at the foot of the aircraft steps. We're also expecting the following people to greet the President and Mrs. Macron. Just to the left of your screens there, you see Sir Kenneth Olisa, who's His Majesty's Lord Lieutenant of Greater London. The lady to his left is the special representative for David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary. David Lammy, we believe, is still in London and will meet President Macron a little bit later on this afternoon. Sir Mark Rowley, the Metropolitan Police Commissioner, also there on the tarmac ahead of President Macron's arrival here at RAF Northolt. There's also, of course, a British suite specially attached to the President and the First Lady of France while they're here in the United Kingdom for the next 3 days, as well as His Majesty's Ambassador at Paris as well, Dame Mena Rawlings. And the President is just, we believe, exiting the aircraft now. There we go, the President Macron there and First Lady Brigitte Macron greeting the Prince and Princess of Wales on the tarmac of RAF Northolt in West London, as well as meeting the Ambassador of the French Republic and Sir Kenneth Olisa, His Majesty's Lord Lieutenant of Greater London. It's expected to be a relatively short ceremony here on the tarmac of RAF Northolt before the Prince and Princess of Wales invite the President of France and the First Lady to enter their motorcade, and then they'll all drive together in convoy here to Windsor, which shouldn't be too far away, I reckon around half an hour or so, to get here to the centre of Windsor. And I must just say, as the President, you may be able to hear on my microphone here, as the President exited the plane, the bands, one of the bands here, the military bands at my position in Windsor, has struck up the opening number of Wicked, the musical, which is a slightly ironic piece of music to play as the President of France steps foot on British soil at the start of his French state visit, but there you go. And of course, we have there on the left of your screens a carpet lining party founded by the King's Colour Squadron of the Royal Air Force on the airport apron. So it is pomp and pageantry and a very odd piece of music, I would suggest, Bev and Andrew, for as the President arrives here in the United Kingdom.
Well, the opening song in the Wicked is "No One Mourns the Wicked." So what's that about? That's what's double entendres. What significance do we read into that?
Good news, she's dead. Yes.
Yeah, very strange. I wonder if they were delayed so long because they were having another tiff, the presidential couple, because they had a very
public one.
Very public tiff in Vietnam.
Well, of course, yes.
So
yes, of course, we did see a slight.
No, we saw it. We saw the First Lady whack the President.
Let's say a touch of
wasn't slight. She whacked him.
She pushed him in the face.
She did. It was extraordinary.
We did.
And when his epitaph was written, that would be part of it.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I don't know if I want to.
So he's now making polite talk to the Prince of Wales. Daniel, this is excruciating for these presidents, isn't it? They have to meet all these poor people.
Quite excruciating for us, to be honest.
They don't want to meet. They just want to get in the car and speed off, really.
Well, he doesn't seem to want to be speedy, does he, Andrew? Because, I mean, the waiting time has been half an hour till he came out of the plane.
Actually.
And I think the flight couldn't have been much more than half an hour.
Yeah.
So...
there'll be a lot of questions in the French press. What was going on that delayed them so long?
Not just the French press.
Yeah.
However, they have made it out. Well, you mentioned that, and you do meet a host of people to whom you really don't want to be known too well to, like the Lord Lieutenant of Greater London, Kenneth Olatega. But we do these the same for every state visit. You were mentioning the differences with Trump, but an awful lot will follow the same formula. When the Queen met, very dubious people like President Ceausescu of Romania.
She had to go to carriage up the Mall.
But it went to the same formula. Now, she did hide in the garden of Buckingham Palace when he was sort of having a walk. Yeah. But, or so it said, anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure
the duty is to do it the same so no country can feel hard done by.
If you're listening on the radio, we're watching Prince William have a chat to Emmanuel Macron whilst Princess Kate behind makes polite conversation to Bridget Macron. I'd love to know what they're talking about. She's probably warning her about the traffic on the M4 that they're about to hit going from Northolt past Datchet to Windsor.
They'll have a police... I saw a royal speeding party the other day, the whistle's blowing. Yeah. They don't get caught in traffic.
No, I'm sure they're not. But what would you talk about? Literally, what would you make small talk about? The weather, I'm guessing. Yeah, they won't
be making small talk about migrants, that's for sure. Because that wouldn't be small talk. That would be a rather angry talk if it was on behalf of GBNews viewers and listeners.
Princess of Wales said, "Do you know what, Brigitte? I've just been watching GB News back there in the car.
They're a bit fed up.
You've got a bit of work to do while you're here. Smile nicely, win them over."
So, do they send the French send their own cars over? Because the King will send his cars when he does a state visit.
These look like remarkably British cars, don't they?
They do. I think that's
the Rolls-Royce.
In fact, one of our viewers pointed that out, actually, just earlier. Somebody said about the fact that why are we giving him the royal cars? Why didn't they get them to call an Uber? And somebody suggested he should have come over on a dinghy if he was that bothered about the climate rather than flying over on his little plane.
So they've now
maybe a Fiat 500. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. But they're now on their way very firmly to RAF, to Royal Windsor, to Windsor Castle, where they'll meet the King. And look at the size of that entourage. Blimey hell. That's 14, I've counted. That is a big entourage. But I suppose, Dan, you've got a head of state and a future king. Security's going to be pretty...
It's a lot on parade. Yeah. It's a lot on parade. And just think, it's all in the open in Windsor. I suspect there'll be a very large number of helicopters in the sky. Yeah. And at the back of these coaches, that you get from the Royal Mews, you have all the people dressed in beautiful state uniforms, etc. But one of them has all the gear for intercepting bombs and everything like that. Dressed exactly like one of the royal coachmen. Yeah. But that one, often you see a little aerial poking out. Right. That's the one.
That's the giveaway.
Yeah, that's the one who really is key.
Really interesting, Daniel.